Hello and welcome, lovely ones. So, here we're going to talk about a powerful technique to put in your toolbox to make yourself love bomb proof. So, if you've been through an abusive relationship, more likely than not, the first stage probably consisted of love bombing, which is what we call it when you are showered with attention and adoration that is out of proportion with the stage of the relationship, the amount of time you had known each other, and the extent to which your partner could have truly known you at that point. Despite that mismatch between the stage of the relationship and what you were experiencing, love bombing can feel very good at the time, especially if you're not sure what's going on, and sometimes even if you do. And because it can be so addictive, you might be concerned now that maybe either your ex could resort back to love bombing behaviors in order to pull you back into a relationship that was not good for you, or you may be worried that you're out in the dating world and somebody new may do something similar and get you into a relationship that is also not good for you. So let's talk about a technique that can help you to make sure that this does not happen to you again. And I call it self love bombing. So I have a worksheet that's available for download. The link is in the description so that you can easily do these steps on your own and do the kind of writing and thinking that it requires. But to describe it out loud, step one is to list out all the emotions and beliefs about yourself that you experienced during the love bombing phase of your last relationship. Some common ones may include that you felt adored, respected, understood, beautiful, sexy, attractive. You may have also felt optimistic and hopeful, inspired and motivated, and you may have felt safe and pampered, just to name a few. And you likely experienced many different emotions, and the list goes on and on. Once you've listed out what you experienced, I'd like you to think about which of those feelings was the most powerful to you. And again, there's probably a handful of them that were very potent for you. Then I'd like you to think about the ones that were important to you, but you're not experiencing those feelings very often, if at all, in your daily day life now. And those are very important because they represent, if you want to think of them as vulnerability factors, where you are craving to feel a certain way and you're not getting what you need right now. That leads to step number two, where for each of those emotions that you're not getting enough of, despite their importance to you, think about the things that you could do to generate those experiences for yourself. And for some of these, it may be easy to think of ideas, not necessarily simple to implement, but easy to think of them. For example, if it was important to you to feel pampered, you may think of a lot of ideas such as, giving yourself a pedicure, putting on lotion after a shower, buying yourself flowers, saying kind things to yourself in the mirror in the morning. It really runs the gamut, and it's going to depend on what makes you feel that way. But for some of these emotions, you may be scratching your head wondering how to generate them for yourself. For me personally, one of the tricky ones was safety. It was very important to me, and I had no idea how to do that for myself. So, in my case, what it required was for me to think about the parts of my life where I was not feeling 100% safe and then taking action to resolve those issues. For example, I was driving it around in a car that had a giant crack in the window, including a radiating crack right in front of my face on the driver's side because a tree had fallen on the windshield. And for a long time, I drove around that way, despite the fact that I didn't feel safe in the car because I wasn't safe in the car. There were visibility issues. I was worried that any kind of impact might cause the windshield to fully shatter right in my face. And despite how not okay that situation was. It took me a long time, and it was a major turning point for me to say to myself, I am willing to spend the couple $100 it will take to ensure my safety. And when I did that, not only did I feel more safe, but it also communicated to myself that my life was worth investing in, because it is hard to feel loved when you are communicating to yourself through action or inaction that your health, safety, well being, or even life itself is not worth investing in. For other people, it may depend on experiences. For you, maybe having a fully stocked pantry makes you feel safe. So, again, think about what's unique to you here. Another emotion that can be tricky to people is optimism, because it is influenced by external factors. Right now in the United States, a significant number of people, and particularly women, are not feeling as optimistic about the future as they were a week ago. However, this is about what you can do for yourself, what you have control over, and the gifts you can give yourself now, no matter what. So, for optimism, a powerful way to feel more optimistic about your future is to be taking steps towards an improvement in a life domain that's important to you, or a goal that's important to you. And if you're not used to working towards that, start small and feasible. So, what are very realistic steps that you can take in the next few days and weeks that could get you closer to where you want to be? It doesn't have to get you there now, but get you closer than you were before. And it will move the needle over time. Another thing that can help is gratitude. So, looking back over your day and listing out the things that you're grateful for can make you feel more optimistic about the future. Because if you feel good or better about what you have right now, it's a lot easier to feel good about what you will have moving forward. So, this exercise can be both challenging, but it can also be fun. And I hope that it is fun for you, because it can unlock brand new passions that you may not have thought of before. For example, I like to feel beautiful. And I took up circus arts several years ago, and it's hard for me not to feel beautiful when I'm making beautiful shapes in the air. And some ways to achieve that goal may be expensive, and frankly, circus arts training can be. However, some can be achieved with little to no money. For example, I also teach chair dancing, and all you need is a $20 folding chair to get started. So I'd like you to be creative and maybe unlock some possibilities for yourself. Step number 3 is to get realistic about how to incorporate these things into your life, because some of them are one-time deals. For example, repairing the windshield was something I could do once and feel much safer moving forward. However, some of these are habitual, and a lot of times they should be, because we don't want to feel, for example, pampered once and then forget that lesson learned, forget how good it feels, and just go back to the status quo. So try to think of some of these things that you came up with in step number 2 as new habits. And again, those are challenging to incorporate, but it can be done. For example, by thinking about where in your routine it makes sense to do these new things. When would it be easier to do them? When would you remember to do them? And what kinds of accountability systems tend to work for you when you're incorporating new behaviors into your life? Um, and again, really important to start in a very feasible way so that you have some success experiences that get you feeling better, and they themselves can become addictive, a positive addiction, so that you truly are starting to love bomb yourself on a regular basis. Why is this important, other than the fact that it feels really good and it can be exciting? Well, getting back to our original goal of becoming immune to love bombing, let's say that you do these things and the emotions that were important to you were to feel appreciated and respected. And let's say you find ways to make yourself feel appreciated and respected in your day to day life. Well, if you're already walking around feeling those things and somebody else comes along and does things to make you feel that way, it's still nice. It's an enhancement, it's a bonus, but it's not a need. It's not filling a gap. And thus, you are much less likely to get swept off your feet, knocked off your center, and more likely to start ignoring red flags because you don't want to stop that stream of attention and adoration that is flowing your way. In fact, you may be put off by it because you're in now position now where you can critically evaluate new relationships and think about whether they are likely to serve you in the long term, which is where I would love for you to be. So again, download the worksheet through the link in the description, and please comment below if any of this has been helpful for you, because other people are very likely to benefit from your story as well. And make sure to like and subscribe, because there's a lot more content coming your way, all about how to rebuild back stronger after an abusive relationship and truly thrive. So please stay tuned, and thank you so much for tuning in.